Do it.
Let's do it. Welcome everyone to Rivals Assemble. I am your host, Mark Turcotte, and this is, of course, a Marvel Rivals podcast. And joining me here for episode 2 from up north, my good buddy, Neilius. Neil, what's up, dude?
Hey, Mark. Hey, everybody. We're back at it again.
Yes, sir. Now, it's just 2 of us this week. We are lacking 2 of our other hosts. They will be back next week, but there's so much news, dude, that we couldn't not do an episode this week. We had to do an episode with 2 new heroes announcements, all kinds of just skins and all that being released here in the countdown to launch. So, how are you feeling seeing all this news this week? Are you just getting more hype as the days are going on? Is the media hype machine rolling on that they want to do as we lead up to launch for you? Are you feeling it?
Yeah, for sure. This daily skin drop kind of thing that they're doing, they know exactly what they're doing.
They do.
And they're, after every skin drop, they're like, what skin do you want to see next? Who do you think's coming? Blah, blah, blah. They just get people talking, chatting about it. And I know Matt said, I don't want to see a skin drop every day. I want some real news. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be skins.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. I think the funny part about it was the first hero they showed in the first skin was Hulk. And it was a Hulk skin we've seen before. We had that Hulk skin in the alpha and even in the beta. And it was just kind of oh, this is cool. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to kind of go through. And then they were just nope. And we're going to get to these skins later on. But we've just pretty much been getting new skins that we didn't know were in the game yet. And that, I think, is what is getting me more excited. Because there's so many other things that are coming down the pipe. But let's get going here, Neil. So quick little housekeeping as usual here. If you're listening to the show, however you're listening to it, please be sure you are subscribing to the show, especially if you're on the podcast side. We would love for you to subscribe to the show. Share it with your friends. If you're talking to your friends about Marvel Rivals and getting them hyped up, let them know about the show. Hopefully they can come in and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at Rivals Assemble. And now we're actually streaming live tonight. We're recording this on Sunday night, now officially on Twitch. So you can follow us at twitch.tv/Rivals Assemble Pod. I'll have all these links down in the show notes. And our YouTube channel is up as well. So we are going to put this video up on YouTube. So if you want to see our beautiful mugs, our beautiful faces, and everything that we're talking about, you can find us over on YouTube. And Neil, we got some good news this week, man. And I'm going to throw this here at the top because our YouTube channel, I think we're going to start kind of populating it with a little bit more than just the show. Because, dude, we have been officially accepted into the Marvel Rivals Content Creator Program, my friend. So
that's it. Ring the bell.
That's right. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we now have basically direct line of communication with NetEase and the developers here of Marvel Rivals. So that means there's going to be some great things coming down the line in terms of giveaways and, of course, content in terms of news and all that. So I'm hoping to kind of not only utilize that here on the show, but with the YouTube channel, we're going to be able to feed you some stuff on there as well. So be sure you're subscribing over on YouTube as well. And, of course, you can always email us to rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. So, yeah, dude, I was shocked when we got the content creator acceptance. That just absolutely blew my mind. So a big thank you to the guys over at NetEase for doing that. I don't know. It's
how could they say no? And it was what, a couple hours after you applied?
We applied. Yeah. So it would have been, I guess, Tuesday afternoon. That kind of opened up a new wave. And, or I guess, yeah, Tuesday. So then first thing Wednesday morning, we had found out that we were accepted. So, very cool. Something that we had been wanting to, of course, get, but I didn't really expect it to come this quick. But very excited for that. And, of course, it's awesome. The cool thing about it, too, is it kind of gets us into contact with other content creators that are out there as well. And that, to me, is one of the most exciting things as well, too. So in terms of being able to play with those folks. And, I mean, right now it's just you and me here on the podcast because Matt and Neil couldn't make it. So what we could do in the future is get some guests here on the show, get some other content creators. So that's something I'm really looking forward to being able to do as well. So
reach out, send an email.
Yes.
I know there's a special chat on our the Discord there. So
yep. And that's something, too, we're thinking about. We're going to eventually be setting that up, to a little Discord and all that for all our Rivals Assemble listeners as well.
That'd be fun.
All that's coming down the pipe. We got
tournaments and games with everybody. I think that'd be a great platform to do that.
Oh, hell yeah. We'll definitely be doing that. So that'll definitely be coming at some point too as well. But let's kick it off here, Neil. We got lots and lots to talk about here tonight with our new segment that we call Not So Daily Bugle News. Well, all right, Neil. Well, this week it was revealed that IGN for the whole month of November is doing their IGN First, which if you're not familiar with this, they've done this for other games as well. They basically like pick a game, and it's kind of like the old like Game Informer magazine used to do this, where they would pick like a cover story, whatever it was for that month, and then cover the game like that whole month. Well, what they're doing now here is Marvel Rivals is the game for November. And so you're going to start seeing kind of the slow roll of all this new information. And the first one they did was a kind of a deep dive into Psylocke, who, of course, was a character that we had revealed by the Marvel Rivals team, but we didn't get the full, kit and everything. Yes, there had been some things out there, people kind of saying what they thought her kit was, but now we've seen it. We've seen gameplay. We've seen the kit. We have it all ready to go. So before we kind of get into the actual abilities of Psylocke, what do you think of just the gameplay that you saw of her? Do you think she plays the way that you thought she would, or just what do you think?
I was very surprised she wasn't getting killed. Well, I guess I don't know how surprised I can be, but I feel like she's gonna be the main. Yeah, knocked out. She's gonna be the main target for the team. Looks like she puts out a lot of damage, but also can jump around and go stealth mode. So they do have. She does have some escape abilities, what will help with that, but it just seemed from the video footage that the enemies were kind of ignoring her a little bit. And I don't know, they want the characters to seem powerful and getting all these kills. Right. They're not going to show them dying for the whole video, of course, but we'll see what she looks like when more people get their hands on her, and well, like me, because whenever I play these jumpy kind of stealth characters, probably pretty squishy, I know I'm going to be getting knocked out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so she is a duelist. So, she isn't a support. She's in a vanguard. But let's go through her kit just a little bit here. So, if you're watching on the video or in the stream, we have her pulled up. She is actually a 2-star difficulty. And
I'm surprised with that. I feel like this will be a high skill ceiling, I guess.
See, I was kind of like going into, I guess, just the idea of her as a character. Because even last week, if you go back to last week's episode, I mentioned like Genji immediately. I'm like, oh, she's got the sword. Yeah. She's got to play like Genji. And Genji is, in Overwatch, a character that is very, kind of has a high skill ceiling. Like, you can't just go in there. He's very squishy. But for some reason, watching her play, to me, she didn't seem like she would be as difficult as a Genji. And like, for me, part of it was, some of her abilities you see. I mean, she's throwing these let's just go through it. So her left click is the psionic crossbow. So she unleashes bolts with psionic crossbows to damage enemies and reduce the cooldowns of her other abilities. So essentially, you want to just be spamming this ability to then give you the option to use her other abilities. Let's see. She has her right click. She launches a volley of psionic shurikens that stick to enemies, dealing damage and granting herself bonus health. So when you press it again, she then recalls them. So I think that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to use that left click, be funneling them into as much as you can into someone, then launch that volley, and then pull that back quickly to kind of melt them fast.
What I'm wondering is, does she get temporary health on the first hit, and then say takes a few hits, gets rid of the temporary health, you call them back, do you get temporary health again on the
I don't know.
Return?
I mean, in terms of the gameplay,
you kind of like hold and wait for that health to drain away, and then I need a little bit more health, can call them back and rip it back out of my enemies here.
Yeah. And is it like one of those things where are you going to basically doing like your basic attack, and like kind of within that, clip, if you want to say, then do this wing shuriken, do maybe a couple more basic attacks, and then pull it back. I don't know. And then I also want to know is if you do launch that, what is the time frame to pull those back? I didn't really dissect the gameplay enough to know that. But, I think of like there's been some other MOBAs I've played where you kind of like tag people, and like if you don't do it in a certain time, it just kind of falls off, let's say.
Yeah, Overwatch, tank lady, Junker Queen. She has the knife kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That throws out, it either hits somebody or piece of um, environment, and then after a little while, you kind of hear it too. Those audio cues of it's coming back. This
Yeah.
is what I would assume like Thor's hammer or something would be like.
Yep.
So that would be interesting. And I guess to add to that, you have your Psyblade dash, and that's like kind of like the Genji dash, right? But when you do that, that's another thing that initiates the return of the right click.
Yeah, and that's your left shift. Yeah, it says Psyblade dash forward and slice through enemies along the path with the psionic blades. The other big one that she has, which I mean, we kind of all expected she would have some sort of invisibility, and this is her E attack, is the psychic stealth. She entered stealth, and you also get a movement boost at that. Didn't look like it was that long of stealth, though. So for those of you who hate Sombra, which we do here on the show, if you play Overwatch, suck at Sombra. Yeah, like it looks like it's a good escape, but it's not something where it's going to be abused like you get in Overwatch with a character like Sombra, where they're like really getting into the back line and just can essentially hang out in the back line. I mean, ever since that character's been introduced into Overwatch, she's just been a problem. Like the tuning of making that invisibility either be too much, too little. I think Psylocke, it's really going to be more used as that escape. I almost even think kind of how like Scarlet Witch right now in Rivals, you're able to kind of go invisible and kind of, sneak in, boom, hit people, and then kind of get out quickly. That I think is going to be her biggest, what do you want to say, weakness, is that, yeah, you have that stealth, but depending on what that cooldown is, if you're using it to engage, then you lose it probably to get out because you're not going to have enough quick. I mean, you have that dash, you can get out. Now, the other thing she does have is her team up. So if you are working with Magic, they already had this with Black Panther, but with Magic, her and Black Panther both can tap into Limbo to rewind a few seconds back to previous positions, and after passing through Limbo, they gain bonus health based on that missing health. So that would be your C in the team up, and that's kind of like a Tracer in Overwatch, where you're able to kind of just kind of quickly get out. So I think you're going to see that combo a lot, where if somebody's playing Magic, I think that, like, for me, Black Panther has a very high skill ceiling in this game. So I think a team up, having another character that can kind of have that same team up with Magic instead of Black Panther and have Psylocke be just a little bit easier, I think is good. But
that gives her another kind of defensive / escape thing.
Yeah.
That three-way team up would be quite something.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah.
I would be like, someone who would prefer a long range nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Like the ball of death.
Yep. Essentially. But, then that's putting you on a team where you have 3 duelists, right? Because Magic's a duelist as well.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the interesting thing about this game. Like right now we have essentially just a open queue, if you want to say, where you're able to build whatever teams you want. But it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do at launch. I don't know if they've really said yet, essentially, are we getting some sort of queue where, I guess competitive was that. But, I wish they would have some sort of at least, roll queue, I think would be.
I think it was brought up. I don't remember what their latest position on it was, but we'll see, I guess. When they announced the stuff about the competitive, I think it was mentioned in there, but I don't remember what the deal was, 222 or what. But we'll see how much competitive I'm going to play anyways. If you have quick match and have it open queue, you get to set up all these team ups and have fun with it. So
what are you talking about, man? We're going full competitive. That's what we're doing here, man. Come on, we're going platinum, whatever it is. We're going all the way to the top.
All right. Hey, I'll hold you to it. I'll hold you to it when I say, all right, competitive tonight.
Yeah.
You got to be on my side.
No.
Because Matt and Ken's will both be like, I don't think so.
No. And then finally, her ultimate, her Q is Rusted Platinum. Her Q is slash nearby enemies with a psionic katana, dealing massive damage. And you see that in the video where she's kind of dashing between the different enemies, which is super cool, man. I think that's going to be really neat to see when someone's able to pull that off in a team fight. I don't think that's something you want to go in as a solo and not just kind of go in by yourself. But I could see, if you have like a what do you want to say? Well, I guess the Iron Man and the Scarlet Witch, when they kind of do their big blast, they kind of just melt people anyways. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just looks cool.
Something I'm wondering about that is she invulnerable when that's happening? Do you think? Because I know
Ooh,
like
that's a good.
Storm's thing too, or Venom's, it's like an AoE kind of move it around,
Yeah.
similar damage structure. But is she just so fast that she's totally invulnerable while she's doing this?
It's a good
That
question,
would,
dude. Because I would want to say yes, but in the same
yeah.
sense, there were multiple games where like I had an Iron Man doing his pulse, and as Penny Parker, I was able to web him up and stop that ultimate.
Oh yeah.
Or same thing, with a Scarlet Witch when she's getting ready to do her big
Yep.
blast, you could kill her
Yeah.
or knock her
Yep.
out, and you're able to take her down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that would be interesting. I know in one of the videos, I don't know if it's the one that we just played or not, where you see the ultimate go. I think there's only two enemies in the ultimate, and one was already low, and they get knocked out. But then it might have been a tank, and it didn't look like it did a lot of damage. So I think that would be the way if she was invulnerable. You can't have it do a
yeah,
whole bunch of damage and like take out the whole team if she gets it. I think it's more of like a finisher or something like that. You don't want to initiate with it.
right.
You want to do it near the end where you're going to try and get a couple knockouts.
Yeah, pretty much like an assassin is kind of in like a lot of MOBAs, and that they're like
All right.
kind of just waiting
Yeah.
until they're little low, and then just boom, just come in and just like taking them right out.
With the invulnerability too, it would
There it
be
is. That's
kind
up
of
and
like
running.
another escape, right?
Yeah.
So you're low, you're out of your thing, you're waiting for your dash or your stealth to come up. Oh, we have our ultimate. Let's stay alive for a couple more seconds.
Yeah. Yep. All right. But
Awesome.
she looks cool, man. She looks like she's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to checking her out. Now, at the end of that trailer, or the end of that little tease we got of her originally, there was a little character they showed up on the screen. And actually, prior to just a few days ago, he had actually been leaked on that IGN gameplay footage. And you could see this character kind of in the background. He was very grainy, very blurry, and he'd been rumored for a long time to be coming to the game. Well, my friends, he has officially been announced. And that, of course, is our good friend Moon Knight, is officially in the game. They did reveal him. Again, IGN putting out a whole thing about him. We actually have received 2 full gameplay matches, so I'm going to kind of let that roll here in a second once we kind of go through some of his abilities in that. But
Welcome to the party, Moon Knight.
yeah, Mark Spector, welcome. Dude, his character model, which I mean, the art in this game, of course, is great, regardless. He looks so good though, man. Like, oh my God, there's so much about this character that it just hits every note of everything Marvel.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
This your main?
No, I mean,
No.
maybe my duelist. It might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he looks, his whole play style. Like I really, really like it. I mean, let's get into it here a little bit with him. So the way
Yep.
Moon Knight works is you have your regular attack. It's this crescent dart. So it you unleash those forward, and they can bounce between enemies and Ankhs. I guess we're gonna call these, dealing damage to enemies. Now, what's an Ankh, you ask? Well, it's essentially you can fire this ancient Ankh down on the ground. It kind of creates like this little AoE. You fire it to knock enemies within the radius airborne and then towards the center of that. So once you drop one of these on the field, when you see it in the gameplay, he drops like this little AoE kind of down on the ground, and then you're able to shoot his crescent darts, and they kind of bounce between the heroes, and they'll bounce back to one of those and then bounce back to another hero. So you're kind of able to kind of play those as long as you have that out on the field. He also has his Moonblade, which he launches him forward, and that can bounce between enemies as well. So you kind of have these multiple, your little darts, but then also the bigger Moonblade that can do that, and that can bounce between enemies and these Ankhs.
What I saw on there was the character was just shooting the Ankh, and that would ricochet and bounce to the enemies. Like you throw down the Ankh, even like you don't even go for the characters anymore. You just shoot at the Ankh, and then it bounces to the
Just
other
goes right
characters
to
as
them.
long as they're in that AOE. And something I was wondering too, this being such a vertical game, how far up will it still attack the enemy characters?
Oh,
Like
like if
can you
they're
just fly up?
vertical.
Is it a radius?
Good
Right? Like would be the
question.
radius
Really good question. Hopefully,
circular and like a half circle kind of thing?
yeah. Hopefully we got a
Or
dev
half
listener.
sphere?
That's a good question, man. I can ask that in the creator chat. Maybe we can figure out the answer
Yeah,
to
you
that,
just fly
because
up
that's the
and get
thing.
over
Yeah,
there.
dude, thinking about how vertical this game is, like, is it just characters down on the ground? And then, I mean, there still would have to be some sort of height to it, because I mean, you have some character like Rocket
Yeah.
is tiny, but then you have like the Hulk, he's like 2 or 3 rockets, right? So what is
Yeah.
that hitbox? And at some point you have to be able to get out of that, I would assume. But speaking of verticality, like, that's one of my favorite parts about Moon Knight is he's very, very mobile. So number one, he has a double jump. So your space bar, you have what they call it rising leap. He also has, what is it? The hook. So his F is he launches a frontal grappling hook that pulls him towards it. So when you watch the video of him, like in the training center,
Yep.
or the training thing, he points up at the top, pulls with the hook, jumps up, does a double jump, and then throws out his glider. Because if you hit shift, then he's able to glide, kind of like Batman or Moon Knight.
This is
Gliding
Batman,
down.
honestly.
It's so
Like
good, man.
Arkham Asylum or Arkham Knight,
Yes.
one of those games,
Yep.
because that's one of the abilities you get. Shoot your grappling hook, and then if you jump right at the right time, you get that speed boost kind of thing.
Yep.
And then as he's floating down with his night glider, you hold shift and you start floating down. It looks exactly like Batman. It's amazing.
Yep. It looks so good, man. And like, it really blew my mind when I saw this character. I was like, oh, we kind of knew he was coming. Like, I mean, they gave us the hints and all that. And I don't want to say, I don't want to sound like the biggest Moon Knight fan. He's been a character that ever since, like, I started reading comics, like when I was younger, like, he was always there. Like, you'd always see him and I was like, oh, he looks so cool. But like, I never really got too deep into his stories until really probably like the mid 2010s, probably started kind of reading him and kind of understanding what that character is all about. And then of course, I mean, the MCU show I absolutely loved. Like, I thought they did a great job with that. And so I'm really interested how his voice lines and everything are going to work. I mean, are they going to get at all into kind of his multiple personalities that he has? Are we going to hear any of that? Or are they just going to totally, kind of put that by the wayside? Which also brings up, we're going to talk about some of the skins, because they did reveal a skin for him. And I don't really want to talk about it yet. That's coming up here in the news. Do you think at all, are there going to be different voice lines tied at all
Yes.
to the skins? You think so?
And I think it's going to cost more money.
Of course.
What's going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
You're going to get the ultimate skin, the premium skin, and it's going to come with a new voice pack.
A new voice pack. Sure. Which, I mean, I hate to say this because I don't want to say, like, please charge me money, but, like, I hope they do that. Like, that's because, I mean, not to say the voice lines get old, but they do, right? I mean, in any Marvel content, whether it's a movie, a game, whatever, they're talkies, right? They talk a lot in these movies, and which, for better or for worse. And I just think that, it just would fit this perfect. But let's get back to, I mean, we have, if you're watching on YouTube or watching on Twitch, we have the video playing here of one of these matches. And I'm just, we're sitting here recording, I mean, I'm just watching it and, like, it's just, he's awesome. I cannot wait to play this character. But his ultimate is, it's called the Hand of Khonshu. So he opens a portal that allows Khonshu to bombard enemies with his talons, and when you see it, it's just like this big portal just like opens up over the field, and it's just like whoosh, it almost looks like fireballs coming in, but it's just like these, you can tell they're literally talons of like a giant god, the Khonshu. I mean, literally that's what he is, an Egyptian god.
I was gonna say it's big AoE area. Looks like a blizzard or something like that. Just damage everywhere, so it'll help. If you can get that plus your Ankh in there, people are just going to get melted.
Yep. So I think between these two characters, I mean, between Psylocke and Moon Knight, I mean, I'm definitely most excited to play Moon Knight for sure.
Yeah.
But they both look great. Now, he's actually a 3-star difficulty, and I was trying to figure out like what makes him different, and I think it's really his mobility that probably does more so, because he's got definitely more buttons to press. There is no team ups at all right now listed for him either. So, we have heard, of course, with seasons and things like that the team ups could potentially change as things happen and as the game kind of moves forward. So we may get something for him at some point. But as of right now, there is no team up for him. But yeah, his mobility just looks awesome. I mean, you're watching the player play on the gameplay we have put up, and I mean, he's just constantly jumping. And
no, it's good. And
it's good.
I think, having more mobility kind of will help with your survivability, right?
Yep.
And then having this kind of not auto aim, but the bouncing, and I think you can hit guys around corners too if you do the onk and
I mean,
shoot at the
yeah.
onk kind of thing. I
Essentially,
don't
you
know if
could.
it's through walls, if there's a wall in between the onk and the enemy, if that hits them or not.
I wouldn't
But
think so, but if you place the Ankh around a corner and then toss your,
yeah,
crescent dart at the Ankh, I would assume it would bounce as long as they're kind of in that field.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
cool.
that would be a good, just team up with Psylocke. Throw down that AoE of the Ankh where they kind of, like, at the moment you drop that, and they bounce up and kind of get pulled towards the center, and then she hits her ult and then
Yep.
kind of pings through all of them.
Or also do it with Doctor Strange. Throw a portal down, somewhere around the
Oh,
corner.
no.
Throw your onk in there. Just start shooting,
Oh, no. Don't
hitting
give him
them
the
from all
ideas, Neil.
directions. Yes, yes. No, this is a character I think I'll hit more with, just because it's more ranged.
Yeah.
And I can be safe and hide behind corners and cover and
Yep.
use all my mobility skills to run away when things go south.
Yep. I can't wait, man. Man, dude, December 6th can't come soon enough. All right, so we did also get some new skins, like we said. So the countdown is on for Marvel Rivals. And actually, as of today, we're sitting at 25 days as of this recording here. So we're recording this on Sunday night. But throughout the week, they've been revealing every day. So if you want to be there the minute these reveals are coming out, it's every night, 7 p.m. Eastern time is the time that these are dropping over on the Marvel Rivals Twitter account or X account. And essentially, they're giving us a small little, the little 12, 13-second character video, giving you a little bit of lore there, and then giving us whatever skin it is they're giving us that night. So the first one we had this week was the Hulk Green Scar skin. And like I said, this one was actually in the alpha and the beta, but they did give us a little bit of a lore bit. So I'm going to read all these as we kind of go through. And if you're watching on the stream, you can see these up in the video. But it says, the Green Scar claimed the throne of a planet and waged a world war. Now he prepares to smash Marvel Rivals on December 6. Now, this skin was pretty sick, man. This is one that I always equipped whenever I played Hulk.
Oh yeah,
Throughout the alpha and the beta.
I don't remember it. It looks awesome though. I don't think I got it, so
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I think I got it in the alpha because I pretty much had gotten all the skins in there.
One of the ones you could buy, right?
Right, yeah, with the kind
points.
of the stuff they gave us in there. But then, of course, for the beta, it was literally like one of the first ones because I played Hulk a good bit in the beta.
Yeah.
Like, I just had a lot of fun. I actually had a video. I should put this up in our YouTube channel of me grabbing Jeff and just slamming Jeff all over the place. I mean, it was both horrific and amazing at the same time. But I mean, I love that with Hulk and his ultimate. You can just grab the enemies and just do the Loki smash from Avengers. It's so much fun. But yeah, so we got that, and then on let's see, day 32, we got a new Iron Man skin, and this is the superior Iron Man skin, and it says when the world was turned on its axis, Tony Stark took extreme measures to solve humanity's flaws. On December 6th, Iron Man will show why he truly is superior in Marvel Rivals. I actually, after seeing the skin, it had me go back and I started reading in Marvel Unlimited the Superior Iron Man run.
Oh yeah,
and very interesting run. It's a different take. Tony actually is like a villain in that series.
wow.
He's created this program that everybody has downloaded on their phones and essentially makes everybody beautiful and makes everybody healthy and all that. And he gives everybody a little taste of it for like a week. And then he takes it all away and charges them money to keep it. And so he becomes a villain by like making, and it's actually Daredevil is the one that's trying. It's Daredevil and Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts like reaches out to Daredevil to like help take Tony down and be like, you can't do this. And it's crazy. But the suit is sick, man. Like it is very, very cool.
It looks very Ultron-y.
It does, yeah.
So is this isn't the same, I mean, maybe we'll get into it a bit in our lore segment, but it's not the same suit that Ultron takes over?
No, I don't believe so.
This is after that.
I think so,
right?
yeah. So,
well, it's awesome. Yes, I agree.
Very, very cool.
Superior, even.
Superior, yeah. The next one actually was a little bit of a tease that we got. This one we actually didn't get the full skin. This was for Magic, And this is her Eldritch armor. And it says, when her brother first fell to misuse sorcery, Magic's power erupted into new armor forged of shining fury. Now she will make all those who face her fall before her Eldritch might in Marvel Rivals on December 6th. So nice little, shining white armor. It almost looks like this would be like a World of Warcraft armor you would put on, right? Yeah. Like as a paladin or something like that.
Lich King.
Like the Lich King armor with the flaming sword and all that. But I mean, the cool thing about her, you have to remember, is Magic. What's her? I can't believe I don't have it pulled up now. But her ultimate, where she turns.
Yeah.
People have been saying, I forget who. I think it was that Miller over on Twitch. He said, "Wait till we see that other side of the armor when she changes."
Oh yeah.
Magic is one character. I think I only tried her a few times. Like I just wasn't playing her enough. I wish I could, because sometimes you play a match and there was a Magic player that was just jumping between portals and they would just melt you instantly.
Yeah, I just get knocked out pretty quickly when I tried her the first time.
Yep, her Dark Child. There you go. But yeah, the Dark Child, when she turns to that in the Eldritch armor, supposedly is pretty sick. So
yeah,
definitely want to see what that's going to look like.
That's a cool ultimate for sure. Yep. And that voice cue. Unleashing Dark Child, or whatever it is.
That's what it was.
And ooh, chills.
Yep.
Stay away from her. Thank you.
Let's see. We also got a new Rocket skin. Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. And a little bit we got for that is he's Rocket Raccoon. Get ready to save the flarking galaxy is Rocket Raccoon in his legendary appearance inspired by Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
So this refers to the third movie, right?
Yes, because that's what they call them, Volume 2, Volume 3.
Yes.
This is the one that I'm just going to say, okay.
Color swap?
Exactly. This is the first one I was like, all right, well, okay, he just looks like Rocket.
Maybe that jetpack is new in the back?
Was that the same thing he had on the first
I don't
know. Yeah, so there it is. You get a Rocket.
But now you see they put a Disney Plus ad in the bottom left corner.
They did, yeah.
Watch the movie, see what it's all about.
Yep.
And you know what?
See, that's it.
I need to watch that movie. So
I need to log into Disney Plus so I can find out what Rocket Raccoon Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looks like.
Why did he pick these colors?
That's great. Let's see. We also got a new Thor one, and this is Thor from Thor: Love and Thunder. Which
also
is
on Disney Plus,
right? Which specifically, so there is a comic, Thor: Love and Thunder, but this was specifically for the MCU movie because obviously the logo is in the bottom corner, and it does say after countless battles and surrendering his title as the king of Asgard, Thor stood at the crossroads of infinity. Thor reclaims his power and legacy as he soars into Marvel Rivals on December 6th in his new costume inspired by Marvel Studios' Thor: Love and Thunder. So,
do they have Hemsworth doing the voice lines?
Do they have what?
For the skin?
Hemsworth?
Would this be a Hemsworth epic skin?
I don't think so. No.
You know what? Maybe. I don't know. They've got money. They've got people.
Yeah. You know what, though? The only thing with that is I guess they've done that in other games, but to me, it's always weird. If you have a voice actor for a character, don't give me the voice, another voice actor. You know what I mean? It'd be like, if they had the Miles Morales skin in this, or Miles Morales in this game, and you had Miles from the game and then Miles from the movie, it's just nah.
But the whole thing is it's lots of universes, right? The multiverse.
That's true. No, that's true.
It's all different versions of these characters.
Right.
We kind of talked about that last time. Whether it would be, I think it would be cool to do new characters with new abilities for each of those.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'll start doing that. I think they've got too many characters to do a once over through. Maybe year 15 they'll start redoing characters in other versions. But
okay,
we'll be there for it.
We'll be there. So it's on brand for what the game is. So I concede. I think you're right. I agree that does make sense. It's it's in what is happening with the game in the story. So all right.
Yep.
If we're going through the time stream, I mean, we're already doing it in the MCU practically, so yeah, why not? Yeah. Let's see. We got another one, and this one. Ooh, wait, hold up. I don't want. This was the newest one, so let me go up. I meant to show this one later, and I don't want to show it.
Groot.
No, so yeah, next up is our good friend Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. The little lore bit on him, they said, was with simple words and boundless loyalty, Groot was always the heart in his group of Guardians of the Galaxy. Prepare to feel his strength and spirit in Marvel Rivals on December 6th in his new costume inspired by Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, this is again kind of like the Rocket, like, okay, cool, we're doing this, but isn't that just his default skin? I don't know.
You want to, what I want to see is a volume 2 Groot when he's in a little pot.
Oh,
that's what they're missing out here. Baby Groot. That would be a new character, maybe.
Yes, and then Jeff tries to ride on him because he could, him and Rocket could ride on him. That'd be great. Or you flip it. Baby Groot rides on Rocket. Yes, that would be it. Oh,
do it.
That would be awesome.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so this is another one that was kind of like, okay, it looks cool.
So I guess spoiler, he grows up eventually.
Yeah, they just spoiled it for everybody. That's funny. Somebody out there has only ever seen Volume 2, and they're like, what? That's me. Groot grows up?
Yeah.
You've never seen Volume 3?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's a tearjerker, man.
I better hop on Disney Plus.
That's right.
Now streaming.
Yep. Let's see. The next one we got was Penny Parker Venom, which, dude, this skin is awesome. I played Penny a lot, and holy crap, this looks awesome. So it says, when the Dark Mech went rogue and assimilated those closest to her, Penny Parker faced a fierce battle for control. Now with Venom's power in her grasp, she's ready to strike in Marvel Rivals on December 6th. This skin is awesome.
So they use the pound symbol as the O in Venom. Do you know what the background is there?
I think the background is just that, like the suit that she has is just very, it's all computerized and all that. So that's just kind of the reason. Like rather than just call it Venom, like everything about it is very cyber and everything.
Yeah, I guess SPDR. That's the same person, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Yep.
Because I was very confused when she was announced for Marvel Champions. I'm like, what is this SPDR? Like, there's something wrong here. Is this a placeholder? No,
no, I'm pretty sure it's because that's just Penny Parker, and that's like her suit essentially.
Elite speak.
Now the neat thing here is on the skin, we do get actually on these panels we have up there. There are a little bit of bits of lore on them themselves, and it says in there that Addie is no longer, May is no longer. We are one. We are Venom. So that actually is like in reference to where this comes from. I think it was Spider-Geddon, I think is where all this was, kind of all went down. But
it is a symbiote that she...
I think the symbiote has like assimilated into the mech, essentially.
Yeah.
Which then that makes you wonder, here we are talking about voice lines. I mean, is there gonna be a different... There's got to be a different voice line for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have like a Venom type total overhaul of the skin and not have the voice change, right? You have to have that.
Yeah. This kind of disappoints me because I was really excited for our fan made up symbiote event where everybody gets symbiote suits and all that stuff. Like, why wouldn't they just save it for that?
I mean, maybe they are. Well, actually, no. This shows, I guess, doesn't it say on December 6th? Maybe is it confirmed we're getting?
Yeah, I bet you all these will be purchasable day one.
Strike. And I gotta say, dude,
showing it.
Like, because I play her a lot.
Yep.
This may actually be a first day purchase for me, like literally. Like, and it's probably gonna be like $30, but I'm in. Like this, I just love. Penny was a character like when the alpha I only dabbled in, but when it came to the beta, I played her a lot. Like she was if we had a full on like solid tank, like a Magneto or even like a Doctor Strange, somebody holding up the shield. I loved playing her, dude. Like I said last week, I was just dropping those mines all over the place. And there was nothing more satisfying. I mean, I mentioned it earlier when a Iron Man or a Scarlet Witch went up in the air and you just launched that webbing at them and tied them up. And they're like, Eldritch. And then and they just see them go like falling down. And you're just like, ha. And then they fall down and blow up on your mines. It was great.
So she's a tank / whatever it's supposed to be called.
Vanguard.
Yep. But does she really have any defensive abilities? Or I guess it's just crowd control.
So a lot of it was more crowd control. Yeah, there was really, I mean, her defense was the webbing people up because you could
Right.
literally, it would basically stun them for like a second, I think it was, or second and a half. And that, the cooldowns on that was pretty quick. So you would
Right.
always drop the one little thing on the side where your little spider bots would keep coming out. There was like a field that they would come out in. And then I think you got like 4 or 5 of those mines. So I would literally just keep running back and forth in front of the payload and just dropping those mines. There's the one map, it was the Asgard map or whatever it was, and there was that one like corner, and like if you could get a team there just that would hold that line, you could just keep dropping it. And there literally was like nothing they could do to get through there if you had a good team holding it down. And I mean, Penny was definitely a big part of that, which is a lot of fun.
And you put webbing on the floor too, right? Or surfaces, and that slows people?
Well, yeah, that webbing you would see down was the, I think the little spider bots would come out and kind of slow them down. And then you could drop the mines then that were set to blow up. So, yeah, it was awesome.
That's cool.
Nice. We mentioned that our man Moon Knight was getting a skin, and my friends, he did. And this skin is sick. This is Mr. Knight, and it says, emerging from the shadows as one of Mark Spector's distinct personalities, Mr. Knight investigates crimes under the cover of night, tirelessly defending the innocent. Now he's ready to bring justice to Marvel rivals on December 6th.
What are these weapons he's holding?
I don't know, but they look like they hurt,
like
dude.
Batons?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, how is that going to affect him? Is he running around like with the batons, but somehow shooting the crescent darts, or are these going to be like Leonardo turtle kind of style, like in the back, and then he's still just kind of doing it, and then somehow still is able to glide? Like, what does it look like when he glides?
Yeah.
When that skin glides, what does that look like?
Oh well, he does have a cape still, right?
Oh yeah, I see that. I see it now. Yeah, I didn't think he did, but I see it. Okay.
Interesting.
Just looked like he just was at like a wedding and like, the party's getting started, and he took his tuxedo jacket off and he's ready to go.
Let's tango.
Ready to crack some heads at a wedding. Terrible. Let's see. And then finally, just today, right before we went live here on the air, we got the Star-Lord Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which, again, this is kind of but I do like this suit for Star-Lord from just the movies in general. I think out of all the movies, this is probably one of my favorite looks for him. The only thing that's kind of weird here is because it's like he's actually a person.
Yeah.
And if you're saying it's from Volume 3, he doesn't look like Chris Pratt.
Right.
And I get it. I understand why, likeness rights and all that, but they should have just kept the mask on him. If you're going to say this is his suit, just put the mask on him, and we can all just pretend it's Chris Pratt or Mario or whoever Chris Pratt's voicing this week.
Sure.
We could just have it there. But
yeah, no, nothing special here, I don't think.
Yeah.
But so we have Groot, we have Rocket, we have Star-Lord. How long you think it's going to be until we've got Gamora and Drax?
I mean, probably not that long. I mean, I would take a guess, maybe in the first year, but I don't know. But to me, I'm trying to think how different would those characters play? Like, what would those abilities be? Like Drax, I could see him having the daggers, and he's just kind of able to kind of run up and he's slashing with that. Maybe he could. I could see Drax almost having like a Junker Queen type knife. Although I don't know how necessarily that works. Like, if you think Drax, he doesn't have like a recall ability of his knives.
Right.
But I think that would be kind of cool.
Maybe he recalls himself, and then he's drawn to his knife, so then he just does his leap to go get his knife back.
You go. Yeah, it's like the reverse. You throw it, and then he leaps to the knife. Yeah. And then if it's on the ground, he kind of like pounds out and creates a little like stun in that area.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think he would be a Vanguard or a duelist?
Probably a Vanguard, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, he should be because of how just tough he is,
Right.
But I don't know.
I think he would be a good kind of off tank. I don't know how much defending he'll do for other people, but a good offense is a good defense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't hurt my team if you're KO'd.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you forgot. Don't we have Mantis too? Mantis is in the game.
Mantis is in there already. Yes. Yeah. Correct. So she's, is that tomorrow she gets her, is she in Volume 3? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch and find out. So yeah, maybe she'll get one of those, but it would make sense for them to have those set up already for the other characters in that movie if they're really pushing that movie. Right.
I mean, a Gamora. I mean, that's the thing with Gamora.
Psylocke, right?
She's a.
Something like that with sword.
I mean, probably, yeah, but like actually have her literally use the sword more. I mean, Psylocke it's in her ult, but have that actually be Gamora's ability. And then I would love to see her, how she just like is able to like wrap herself around people, like kind of like Black Widow does.
Like a sumo
the leg takedown.
suplex.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think would be sweet.
She uses guns too, though, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. She kind of uses everything, man. So it's like they could really
weapon master.
Sky's the limit with her. I mean, that would be cool if there was like the ability to either use guns or use the sword, and you kind of can swap. I mean, we already have that in the game with Punisher. You're able to have his range, or he has like that shotgun. You can kind of switch between the two.
Yep.
So I think that'd be kind of cool for the ability to
a full loadout of weapons. Yeah, that would seems like something it would be like a rocket thing too, right?
Yeah.
Changes gun type or whatever is multi gun.
Yep.
But that's cool to think about. Obviously a do list.
Right. All right. Well, that's going to be it for the skins. We did get actually here. I'm going to kick back just to our regular feed here. We did get some news also from Marvel Comics themselves, and that is that there's these exclusive covers coming for comics in the month of January. So it still is a little bit away. So the game will already be out, but I think that's kind of cool. So people can play the game and then decide for themselves if they want to get these covers. But they are pretty cool. I actually don't have them up in the stream because they're vertical. But we have a Spider-Man one that they showed. There's also one with Storm on it that looks very cool. There's a Venom cover.
Yes.
Which looks
I'm
awesome.
getting that one.
Yep, that one looks really cool.
That one I'm buying. I guess it's Venom number 2, so they've restarted Venom. I guess Kate's run is over. I gotta check in on that again. I'm excited for our Venom lore episode.
Yep. And then there's one of Galactica and Jeff that looks kind of cool. So.
That's interesting. So this is it is a Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah. Which, I mean, come on. You have Galactica, whose father, of course, is Galactus. You gotta have her in Fantastic Four. Right. You got to.
But are these characters actually in this story right now?
What do you mean?
Would they be in this Fantastic Four story, or it's just?
I don't know. I mean, I would assume they probably would put them in there rather than just do a random variant where they're not in it.
Yeah.
The big thing with Jeff, and I mean, I can't wait till we do a Jeff lore episode. But my first exposure to Jeff was Marvel Unlimited. They do these Infinity comics. Which is kind of cool, especially if you do it on your phone. Unlike most comics where you're literally flipping them like a book left to right, the Infinity comics, they're made for phones. So you're actually kind of just scroll, like you're scrolling, up and down.
On X.
And Jeff was the first place I saw it, and they just had a whole series just called It's Jeff. And like one of them, he just was at like a pool party with all the Marvel heroes, and like he jumped in the pool and they all freaked out because they thought he was a shark was going to eat him, and then they realized he was this cute little shark, and they all got back in the pool and just partied, and that was it. There was a whole issue, and it was just like, okay, there was like no words, no dialogue, just Jeff chilling, and it's like it's so funny, man, the way they do that story. And most of the stories in the It's Jeff Infinity comic are that. It's just like random things that Jeff's doing. It's funny. So,
well, they were right to be scared. They saw his ultimate coming in Rivals, right? He is going to eat you and spit you out over the ledge.
Yeah, but if you're his teammate, he'll just spit you out. And like, if you're partying at a barbecue, maybe he'd send you over and get a plate.
Yeah, like a Jeff Uber. All right, time to go home. Get in my mouth.
Get in my mouth. You've had too much to drink. Oh, it's funny. But yeah, these covers look really good, so I definitely urge people, go check them out. They're set to come out in January, and this was over on the at Marvel Comics HQ Twitter feed, so go check them out. You can check them out over there.
Awesome.
Let's see, that's basically it for the news, I think, this week, Neil. I mean, anything else that you saw that kind of grabbed you? I will say, I know some people listening to this, and I'm almost going to say probably by next week. Well, actually, quick show note, we are recording Thursday this week, so we're going to start moving Thursdays as our recording date, doing them live, shows coming out on Friday. So maybe not by Thursday, but there is another hero that was teased this week. And supposedly in the IGN footage, just like they did with Moon Knight, you got a little glimpse of that person in there. And I don't want to say too much. I'm trying to think of a way to kind of dance around it and maybe think of a way to, I don't want to like shoot an arrow in it or anything, but I don't know. We'll see who that hero is as they're shooting arrows. We'll maybe try to figure that out. There you go.
We kind of talked about this last week. I don't think they need any more heroes, really. Like, let them come out, let everybody play them, and then just drip feed.
Yeah.
They've got a huge roster already.
And I think it's only going to get bigger, though, man. I really think that's the plan with this,
because the bigger you make the hero pool, the harder it's going to be for everybody to learn coming on, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You kind of shoot yourself in the foot. It's like, well, let's give all the heroes, all the people, give them what they want, give them the heroes. But it's like us as players, you'll hear developers say this a lot, and like, of course, communities always get mad, players always get mad, but it's like you don't really know what you want. Like, and then when you actually get it, then you complain about it. When you get what it's just one of those situations where it's like, give us all the Marvel heroes, we want them all. But then when you have this roster of 70 heroes, and you if you haven't been there from the beginning, the onboarding for new players is always hard. I mean, it's like right now, go try to play League of Legends if you've never played a MOBA before. Good luck. Yeah. Like it's almost impossible to get in there and play that because you don't know who to play. Sure, they can always try to give you like, here's the heroes we recommend. And I mean, they're already doing it with Marvel Rivals by showing you the difficulty with the stars. But this game having the Marvel IP, players are going to want to play players regardless of the difficulty, just because they like the hero.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I don't know
what they say when you're learning a new game with different heroes and stuff like that. Play all the heroes. At least start to learn all of them, because that'll help you when you're facing off against them.
Yes.
Their strengths, their weaknesses, their abilities, what they can do. So once you see them in the field, then you kind of know how to deal with them. But when you got to play 40 heroes, that's going to take a while. Before you start honing in on whoever your main or whoever you really want to play is.
You said it right, man. Any game like this, it's really twofold. Like, not only do you have to learn to play the heroes, you have to learn to play against the heroes. And so playing just the roster just to get a feel for what they can do, is really just part of the way these games go. There is just that learning curve that you just kind of have to get through. I mean, luckily these games aren't as hardcore as MOBAs in a sense of that learning curve. It's a little bit easier here, but still,
is it?
I say it is. I think it is because, and really the only reason I say that is because of the quantity of matches you can play.
Right.
I mean, you could play probably 2, 3, sometimes 4 of these matches in the course of what you would play one game of Dota.
Like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes each match kind of thing.
And so that, if anything, that's why I think it's easier to learn a hero shooter, because you're I mean, it's still the same thing. You got to learn the heroes both ways, but the fact that you can just play more is what helps. Because that's the thing. I mean, I don't know if you've played a lot of League of Legends and stuff like that, but when you go into those games, sometimes you just get in a match, you're getting stomped, and you're just like, I'm not learning anything here. My team's not working. Like, this is just a mess. And
surrender at 20.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's 20 minutes. That's for a heroes match. I don't remember. Can you change heroes mid-game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
can. Yes, you can, yeah.
Okay, definitely. So that's the thing, too, right?
That's true, yeah.
Try it. Oh, I didn't like that. Let's switch. And then they've got like the training lab or whatever too.
Yep.
So you can pop in there. And I really like how in Overwatch that they have those things while you're queuing for a match. Like I assume that the queue up time is going to be very, very little when this thing launches, because everyone's playing it. It's free to play. The player pools. It's going to be waiting to log into the game.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's not going to be a thing. But I know sometimes on our game nights when we're playing Overwatch, like the fun time comes when we're doing our death matches in between games, right? And that's where you can play with other heroes, start to learn them and stuff like that, or you can go into the training lab or whatever and try out new heroes and check them out. I think that's a cool thing to do. So you don't always have to do it in the high stress of, your platinum, bronze, or whatever Matt called it, placement match.
And, being able to change mid-game, I mean, that's part of even just the meta of the game is like, it comes to a point where, depending on the team you're playing and knowing how to counter the heroes they have, is forces a change, or even different checkpoints. Like if you're playing a payload match, sometimes different heroes are just better. Like, okay, let's just get to the first checkpoint. Once we're there, I'm going to swap out because this other hero is just better for this push. We need this right now to push forward. So there's definitely a lot of kind of meta game to having that. I do hope another thing that I like a lot of the hero shooters do, and I mean even some MOBAs will do this, but like random heroes. So like mystery heroes in Overwatch is tons of fun. It's one of my favorite things to play. Like now that I know all the heroes, you just hop in there, which now they've added in that game actually like a role queue for it, which is cool. I mean, but it's like, if I'm playing support in that, it's just you're always going to get mystery support characters. Like I liked it when it was just random. Like I'd be like one match or 1 minute you're a support, you die, next thing you're a tank. I wonder if we're going to get that in Marvel Rivals. Like are we going to get a mystery heroes?
I hope so.
I hope we do too, man. I think it would be just fun.
You say that once you know the heroes, that's fun. I think that's fun to just learn the heroes because it's going to pick heroes that you wouldn't pick otherwise, right? So it's going to give you a chance to try out the ones that you're like, oh, like Psylocke for me. Like, that's the time I'm going to actually play Psylocke, when it gets forced on me and I have to figure it out. But I think that's a great thing that they should start with to open up the game, because that's going to help you learn all the heroes for sure.
Yep. And even if anything, even if they just did a role queue for that, just so it's like, okay, you're at least learning the role, but then here's all the different characters that are just you're cycling through of that role. I think is a great way to learn.
That's true too.
All right. Well, Neil, let's move on here to our lore segment that we call the Cerebro Files. All right, so this week we are talking about our good man, Mr. Anthony Stark, also known as Tony Stark, Iron Man. So our lore master, Matt, is not here, so we're going to try to take the reins here, and he's actually in the chat here as we're recording this live. But we're going to give you a little breakdown on Mr. Iron Man, Mr. Tony Stark, and I know many of you out there probably know a lot about him, but we're going to give you a little bit of the history and then maybe some things that we would probably recommend reading or watching, things like that, when it comes to Iron Man. So, Tony Stark, he is a genius inventor and billionaire industrialist who suits up in his armor of cutting-edge technology to become the superhero Iron Man. He's the adopted son of weapons manufacturer Howard Stark. He inherited his family's company at a young age following his parents' death. While overseeing a manufacturing plant in a foreign country, Stark was kidnapped by local terrorists. Instead of giving in to his captors' demands to build weapons from them, Stark created a powerful suit of armor for himself to escape. And returning to America, Stark further upgraded the armor and put his vast resources and intellect to use for the betterment of the world as Iron Man. He also quickly gives up weapons manufacturing and has experienced firsthand the horrors of war. Now, I do real quick here want to just note, now they say he was captured in a foreign country. The story of Iron Man has shifted through the years to modernize. So originally he was, I believe, in Vietnam, and then it switched to like Afghanistan, and like it has changed throughout the years depending on essentially the war that was, I guess, happening kind of amongst the world from when this character was created. So that's kind of cool. They've kind of kept him modern in that sense. Which, of course, it's comics, right? That's how they always change things like that.
Yeah, I thought they made up a country the first time,
I do
just to not get anybody too upset.
I want to say I think it was Vietnam, but
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I did read that. But anyway.
Let's see. Tony has kept his alter ego a secret for most of his career, juggling his responsibilities as head of Stark Industries while becoming a key player in the superhuman community as Iron Man and founding the world's premier superhero team, the Avengers. Over the years, Stark has faced numerous enemies such as the Mandarin, Justin Hammer, Ironmonger, and the Titanium Man, as well as many personal demons, most notably his addiction to alcohol, which is one of the best stories out there if you want a pretty good Iron Man story. For many years, Tony covered for his alter ego by claiming that Iron Man was his anonymous bodyguard, but he eventually brought his dual identity to the public light. And that's funny. When you read those old Iron Man books, Iron Man is basically perceived by the public as the bodyguard of Tony Stark. Now, you never see him in the same place at the same time. Yeah. Kind of like Superman and Clark Kent, but it's his bodyguard, right? Even though he's not really there controlling him. Recently, Iron Man was backed into a corner by the anti-mutant industrialist Fei Long, who took advantage of Tony's divesting himself from his company, Stark Unlimited, to acquire it and repurpose the Iron Man technology into mutant hunting Stark Sentinels as part of his plans alongside the think tank Orcus to persecute mutant kind. Designing a new stealth armor to operate from the shadows, Iron Man joined forces with the mutant telepath Emma Frost, working on the counteroffensive against Orcus and their global anti-mutant regime. Stark's efforts ultimately paid off with the creation of his Mysterium armor, crafted from a rare metal whose existence was once theorized by Tony's father, with which Tony saw the end of Orcus's regime and Fei Long's defeat. So,
Wow.
that's, yeah, pretty much. And which, by the way, I'm pulling this right now from the Marvel fandom, but just this week, and I'm getting this kind of like a little shout out to people out there. I just this week got the new Marvel Encyclopedia. Dude, this thing was like $35 on Amazon. I highly recommend people get it. It is like a thick beast of a book.
Boy.
Tony Stark in this book takes up 6 pages in here, and there's other characters that are only like 2. I think some have 4, and then some have literally, there's like 4 or 5 characters on 1 page. Iron Man is literally 6 pages in this book. There's so much to this character. I mean, obviously, I just went through a bunch of things, didn't get too in depth with him. But the cool thing I think about Tony is like he's across so many of the different stories because of like the technology and everything that he just brings to the Marvel universe. He's a character that, upon his creation, I don't think really they didn't like, he wasn't like selling like crazy, I guess is the right way to say. Like those comics weren't big sellers or anything like that, but he was always kind of there. And it wasn't until they really kind of brought him together into the Avengers that I think he really kind of came into his own. And I think the MCU has done an incredible job with the character of seeing his character arc go from, arrogant asshole, essentially, part of my language, in the beginning to, the guy who come Civil War is essentially like, my creations are destroying the world. Like originally he wanted to use his creations to protect the world, but realized that it was actually going to possibly lead to its destruction. And then in Civil War, which is just like in the books, he's like, no, we can't do this. Like we have to come back together. And yeah, I mean, ever since the MCU, Iron Man now has become one of the key players for Marvel that everybody just absolutely loves. And I mean, a lot of that, of course, is to the portrayal by, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, that guy, you could not ask for better casting. I mean, he is Iron Man to everybody.
He's great. Yeah. And that's a definite recommend if you're someone who's lived under a rock and hasn't seen the Iron Man movie that kicked off the MCU. Amazing movie. It was great. I still remember seeing it for the first time and just being blown away.
Yeah. I mean, the idea that they were just making an Iron Man movie was like, okay, like, I guess we're going to go. Like I talked in the last episode, kind of like Captain America. Like, I always thought Iron Man was cool because his suit looked cool, but I never really read the Iron Man comics until, you watch that movie. I was the same way. We went and saw the movie, and it was kind of like, all right, we'll go see Iron Man. It's a Marvel movie. And we walked out of that theater, and I was like, one of my favorite scenes in any movie is when he just shoots the rockets at those tanks, turns around and starts walking away, and then the tanks are just like, boom, they just blow up. That is one of the most badass scenes ever, like, of any movie. Guys, so great.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
No, he's so cool. Awesome.
That's the origin there. But yeah, great movie, and has been such a big part of the MCU, and just super cool, man.
Yeah. In terms of reading in the comics, I mean, I would definitely recommend Civil War. I mean, it's funny. We talked about Civil War last week with Captain America. Civil War with Iron Man is great. Even Civil War 2 was good, where it's essentially him versus Captain Marvel. They're on two sides. I think in that, Captain Marvel wanted to essentially, they found a way where they could find crimes that were going to be committed. It was kind of like what was the movie? I think Tom Cruise was in that movie. Minority Report? Is that what it was? Where they were going to like arrest people before crimes were even committed. And it was that same idea. It was like Captain Marvel's like, if we have the knowledge that these people are going to commit these crimes, so we could save lives, stop these things from happening, we need to act on it. And Iron Man's like, no, like you can't guarantee that's going to happen. And so it just led to Civil War 2. That's what the whole basis of that was about.
So whose side are you on for, I guess, both Civil Wars? Like Civil War 1 being registration of... So they kind of flipped the table on Iron Man then. The first time he was kind of like, government, you need to, that protects the people. Yep. And then the second time he's like, no, free will. Yep. People make their own decisions. No way for sure you can know that that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like more of the people and individuality of the superheroes.
Yep. I mean, I always thought that was, I mean, in that case, I think I would be on the side of Iron Man because I think people still would potentially have their own free will, and it's like
Yeah.
knowing just the way Marvel acts out. Like, I think that was kind of tied into, and I could be wrong on this. It was around the same time that, I can't believe Secret Empire was coming out, where Cap was bad, and there was a vision of, I think it was Captain America killing Miles. Is that, or no? I'm sorry. It was Miles killing Captain America, I think, like on the steps of the Capitol. And like everybody was all like, they gotta take out Miles, because they knew he was going to commit that. And it was like, that is not going to happen. And Miles knew of it. They told him about it, that this was going to happen. And he did not want that to come to light and to actually happen. Yep. And like just that whole struggle that was there. They always find a great way to like make these ethical conundrums, if you want to say, I guess, kind of in comics. That's why that's
not night and day.
Right.
It's the gray area, right? And then giving everybody's perspective on things to see what it's like in their shoes. And especially, I guess, Civil War I, Iron Man saw what his weapons could do to cause harm, and he didn't want that to happen. And he feels like if he could take it back and have that not happen, then he would. And that's why he wants to change it. So you see both sides for sure.
The one Iron Man issue, and God, I meant to write this down before we get going. It's like 130 something is the one where you kind of learn about his alcoholism, and I think he loses everything. And this was actually a pretty impactful book. Like when it came out, I mean, you kind of think back to that age of comics, and it was like, I think we were post Comics Code at that point. So like, the Comics Code, for those who aren't familiar, was basically a way to like limit things that could be in comics, because in the 50s they thought, oh my God, comics are like creating all these delinquents. So you couldn't, show certain images like smoking and drinking and all these different things in the comics.
Wow.
And, that was kind of passed. So then to have a character who essentially is a hero, but then you find out, I mean, he's I don't want to say raging alcoholic, but he was really lost in the bottle, and all that was something that was not really shown in comics, especially from the hero side. And like that's what has always differentiated Marvel from really any other comic publisher out there, like even like DC. DC is always about like, they're just superheroes, and they're getting to the Marvel side now with those to make you I guess
imperfections,
deeper thoughts, if you want to say. But Marvel was like what Stanley always said, it's the world outside your window. It was, our characters are real. Spider-Man is a high school student who has his own drama. He has to pay his bills. Tony Stark he's a billionaire, and he's got everything under the sun, but you know what? He's not happy, and he's like just drinking out of a bottle. There's always like, those were real life problems that real people had. And I think that's why Marvel has always just resonated with fans, as you're able to kind of dive into these things and
look past the action sequences, right?
Yep.
A little bit more flavor in there.
Yep. The Armor Wars is also a big deal. Justin Hammer, who was in our Iron Man 2, I think was Justin Hammer, right? They basically, he gets kind of some other suits going. So Armor Wars is a big one, which I think we are going to be getting that, or we were supposed to be getting that as an MCU show. I think that was going to be the War Machine show, I think.
Ringing a bell.
As far as I know, I think it's still happening. But I would definitely go check that out as well. And we mentioned it last week, but Marvel Unlimited is a great way to catch up on all these things in Marvel. And, we always joked, I know in one of my previous podcasts, like, come on, Marvel Unlimited, sponsor us. But we are not sponsored by Marvel Unlimited, but I can't tell you enough that it is a great way to catch up on books. I mean, it's literally like over 30. I mean, I don't even know what they're up to now, like 30, 40,000 comics in there to read on your tablet. I mean, people can use their phones, but I just have a nice tablet. I go in there and just read them all. And they have reading guides and everything in there. It's a great way to kind of catch up. Or the other way, and I know a lot of people don't think this, and I know, Neil, you do this, and I've done it myself too. Go to the library.
Yep.
Your local library has so many books. I guarantee you they probably have like a ton of Iron Man collections. So just go there, grab it. Which one were you reading this week, Neil? You said you were reading, was it Invincible Iron Man?
Invincible Iron Man, yes. This I got through my library, but it's actually digital. So check your local library, see if they do any digital deals, because I get audiobooks too through my library and everything. Just go on their website, see what they've got. It's Hoopla is the platform that it's on, and they've got everything in there. And they've got apps for your tablet, for your phone. You can do it on a web browser on a laptop or your PC. And I checked out Invincible Iron Man. I was going through some posts of, okay, you want to know who Tony Stark is? here's some ideas, and I picked this one. It's from 2015, 2016, and I got through the first couple issues anyway. It was a good setup for sure, and apparently this is when Riri comes into play too, Ironheart. So you get to see
Nice.
the start of that, which we'll see when she gets announced for this game, but they'll probably have a cool team up, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of the Iron Man stories, just going through some summaries and stuff like that. Actually, there's a good list, a comic book guide. You can find them everywhere, but on Reddit and the Marvel Reddit, they have a good comic book guide that kind of goes through main story arcs. Okay, for each character, what should you look at? What should you read? And for Iron Man, the ones that come up with that are this one that I'm very interested to read, which is called the Extremis arc.
Yeah, that's a big one, I know. Yeah.
It's only 6 issues, but it sounds amazing. So I'm going to be checking that out for sure. That's considered modern essentials, and then the Invincible Iron Man as well. There's a bunch of that it goes through, but it's got a good list of some things to choose from. Armor Wars, it goes through that. And Superior Iron Man, I think you talked about that one too.
Yep.
So lots to choose from. He's been through a lot of stuff, the rise and fall, and being part of the Avengers too. You can check out some cool stuff in there. Was it the Ultron movie where he had like these were all automated, no pilots inside?
Well,
kind of thing?
Iron Man 3.
Like drones?
That was Iron Man 3. I think the end of that is when that.
Because you think of that, like, why be inside the armor if you don't have to be?
And
right?
that actually happens a lot in the comics. Like just when I was reading the Superior Iron Man, he's fighting somebody. I think it's She-Hulk is in the very first issue, and like she punches him because he's like getting in the way of something, and his head just goes flying, and she's like freaks out, like, oh my god! I can't. And then she says something like, "You weren't in there, were you?" And you hear the head. He's just like, "Do you think I would even be here?" And he's like, it cuts to him. He's sitting in a pool with like surrounded by like 7 women, like just drinking a martini or something. It's like just crazy. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Now there's been a couple little Canucks in this
whole
Iron Man comic, right?
So this is the inaugural, we'll call it the Canuck Corner. Being a Canadian, I'm going to take every chance I can get to bring up stuff like this. This was part of this is an issue of it's not Iron Man exactly, but it was part of the Civil War II kind of tie-in. They had an issue where Iron Man goes down to the gym to do some sparring, and his sparring partner is Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So this happened, I think it was 2016, and it's just a single issue, Choosing Sides, number 5. There's a variant cover where they've got Justin Trudeau animate or illustrated on there, and nice. The Alpha Flight. This was a comic I actually bought, and it was the first comic I bought since the 90s, I'd assume, like being an adult. And I went down to the store and bought it. I ended up giving it to my uncle, who's from the States, so I don't have it anymore, but it's very cool, and just had to throw that in here as part of the Civil War II. It came out in 2016 sometime.
Sweet. Very cool. So there it is for Iron Man. Next week, we are actually going to be talking about Moon Knight. So we were, kind of going with some of the Avengers here in the beginning. Then boom! No, we had the Moon Knight announcement. And there's a lot of good stuff to get into with Moon Knight. So be on the lookout for it this week, which, again, by the way, we are recording Thursday night. The new episode will be coming out on Friday. So look for it there. So we also did get some emails, Neil, or a email, I should say. So if you want to be a part of the show here and want to have your email read here on the show, be sure to email us at rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com, or you can even hit us up on Twitter at rivalsassemble. We can even get some questions in that there. But this email comes to us from Jim Rhodes. I love that name too, by the way, Jim Rhodes. That's great. He says, NetEase has revealed a lot of MCU skins this week with Rocket Groot and even the Thor Love and Thunder skin. What MCU skins would you want to see brought to the game and why?
I kind of answered this one already, actually. This is Groot Volume 2 skin. Give me some baby Groot. I want to see that.
That's amazing.
We had some good ideas there for sure.
I mean, for me, I'm just thinking of just like the classic, like Captain America from what is it, Avengers Infinity War? You know, where they go to Wakanda and he has like the different shield. I think would be cool, or even like his Winter Soldier outfit that he has on. I think would be neat. I mean, Iron Man. There's so many suits that they could put out there, but like the classic one, which could be from the first movie or just the comics in general, is the first Iron Man suit, you know, the Mark I, that is just so clunky and just like, I mean, we kind of had that in the alpha and the beta with the steampunk style suit that was, I forget what they were calling that, but I think having that classic, just gray metallic suit would be awesome. I think if they put that in the game, it would be pretty neat.
Even with the what ifs, right? This is our what if segment.
Yeah.
That was a great animated series, and having some other characters as your Stephen Strange or whatever. And Matt in the chat here saying Captain Carter.
Yep.
Right. I think that was the first what if episode where
it was, and she appears in the second season and all that too.
Yeah. What if she had the serum instead of Steve?
Yep.
So I think that's a great way to bring in some new skins. But again, ultimate skin or whatever you want to call it, epic skin, you got to have a different voice line, right? Different characters playing it. So
now, real quick, this is just kind of a random topic here off to the side, but speaking of other people getting the serum, have you watched the Captain America Brave New World, the new trailer that came out this week?
No, I have not.
Have you watched the Thunderbolts trailer that just came out?
I have not seen either. Ken's has convinced me that I'm going to watch them anyway, so I'm turning into a non-trailer watcher.
Dude. Oh man, we watched them yesterday, and then today, like we were watching football, and I had to. My brother-in-law was like, "Have you seen those trailers?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "We're watching them right now," and we just had to watch. Like, I cannot wait for both of those movies. They just look fantastic. Like anybody that said the MCU has kind of been on like a slip as of late, I think it's about ready to get right back on track with that because they just look awesome. So. That's your homework for listeners out there. Go watch those trailers. They just look awesome. I mean, the Thunderbolts one's cool too because it's almost like 4 minutes long. It's almost like a little scene, and then they go into trailers, which is kind of cool. So go check those out. But again, email us, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com, or hit us over on Twitter @rivalsassemble. So, of course, follow us over there, guys. Be sure to follow us however you're listening here to the podcast, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Be sure to subscribe and do us a favor if you can. Whatever service you're using, go ahead and leave us a review if you can, because that actually helps us kind of just be shown to more people out there to kind of get some more listeners here to the show and let some more people know because we want to get some more people involved here in the conversation, of course. And of course, we are, like I said, recording this live here on Twitch at twitch.tv/rivalsassemblepod. And we will be doing this live this Thursday night, probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. Just follow us over on Twitter and kind of be there. We'll be sure to be going live. It just kind of depends here on when some little kiddos get to bed, I think is the right way to to say it. But we will definitely be here doing that. And, of course, like I said, follow us on YouTube if you just want to watch the playback, which I think the playback is also on Twitch. But I'm always going to dump these over onto YouTube at Rivals Assemble Pod over there. And even the podcast is there, too. So if you listen to like YouTube Music or whatever, you can catch the podcast over there as well. Well, Neil, what are your predictions for the reveals the next couple days before we record again? Who are we getting?
That's a good question. Since I guess we already got the Iron Man one. Give me There was also, did we talk about the Venom skin that was announced? Was it Anti-Venom? Or I guess that happened a while ago,
Well,
right?
yeah, you know what? We didn't talk about that. We should have probably talked about that last episode. That was I think was that Gamescom that was shown, or it was at one of the events they had recently that they had revealed that actually wasn't part of this reveal they're going through now. So we're probably gonna
Right.
get. They may show that in the whatever day they reveal Venom. We're probably gonna get that unless they got another skin up their sleeve. But Spider-Man, is somebody that we should have coming up soon. We haven't
Get a
had
black suit.
Scarlet Witch. Oh, dude, that'd be sweet.
Black suit Spider-Man.
That'd be awesome.
Give me some. What's some cool Black Panther? What kind of skins do you think they could have for him?
I don't know. I mean, you could have him just like in a suit, like not even like not even the Black Panther suit, just like I'm the king of Wakanda.
Yeah.
He's going to the UN. It's Black Panther, and it's
Yeah, him
T'Challa on
and
his way to the UN.
going to a wedding with Mark Spector.
Yep. Magneto too, man. There's some cool things they could probably do with him.
There is some cool Magneto for sure.
Yep. Over in the chat, they said Zombie Scarlet Witch might be cool.
Oh wow.
Matt throwing that out there. He's in the chat with us. So yeah, there's
Maybe save that one for Halloween.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what's coming, man. I'm really excited. Like I said, some of these skins they've been showing have really been surprising me. Like I just thought we were going to get the skins we had in the alpha and the beta. And so far, I mean, the only repeat we've had is the Hulk one. Other than that, everybody else has been new. So that's pretty sweet. But all right, well, let's wrap it up there. Again, everybody, thank you so much here for tuning in to the show. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Take care.
Peace. All right, dude. Nice.
Well done. I thought we were gonna be quick today, but